Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Unacademy, India's largest online learning portal for the preparation of various competitive exams. My name is Neelam Malkani, and I'm going to be your facilitator and guide for CAT and management exams preparation. In today's session, I'm going to teach you some words with financial fraud or financial scams. Ever since this series on Harshad Mehta released, there is a renewed interest for knowing about these scams as well as these financial frauds which have happened in different periods of India. I thought of taking advantage of this interest and teach you some words associated with these financial frauds. So let's begin today's session. But before that, let me give you a brief introduction of myself. I have Masters in English Literature degree and I possess around 12 years of experience in test preparation industry. I have trained numerous students preparing for CAT, GRE, GMAT, SAT and IELTS and TOEFL. My areas of expertise have been English and reasoning. I have also designed assessment papers of English and reasoning for professional bodies as well as for governing bodies of different states. I have also served as an examiner of English for an international organization. Recently, I have authored a comprehensive book of English for the preparation of competitive exams. The book is written in both Hindi and English. Now this video is brought to you by Unacademy. Let me take you to its portal and tell you how you can be part of this. First, you have to download Unacademy Learning app in your Play Store. After filling in all the details, you will be shown 3 courses plus free courses, special classes. If you want to attend classes for CAT, you have to go in plus category and then you will be shown all the courses which are offered under this category. Once you go for the subscription, you will be shown all the features that you will be availing once you pay, such as 30 hours of live sessions every day, as per your availability, as per your convenience, and as per your choice. You can choose the time of your preparation. You can choose the time of these classes. These classes are offered by top 40 educators across India. These people who have wealth of experience of their respective fields, who have been training students for quite a long time and mentoring them for different management exams. The courses which are offered by these top educators are well structured and well designed, especially by those people who have extensive experience of module and curriculum design. What more, every month you get to see a new course being launched on the platform. The course which is catering to the needs of a specific exam. Once you are satisfied with all these features, you will be shown all the models of subscription as per your needs and as per your plan of the preparation of this exam. You can choose the subscription model, such as for 1 month or for 1 year. If you're targeting 2020-21 CAT, you can go for 1 year subscription. They are very pocket friendly and economical. Whichever model of subscription you choose, you will have to type code Neelam. If you want to avail 10% further discount, you will have to type code Neelam. Right? After typing this, you will be able to avail 10% discount on any of these subscriptions. National Scholarship Test, which is being organized by Unacademy every Sunday starting from 14th of October. The test is designed as per the changed pattern of CAT, the changes which have been brought in this year in CAT structure. This test is going to be designed online of that changed pattern. That is going to give you 3 sections. The day you take your test, you will be given detailed analysis of each section. This detailed analysis will be taken up by an experienced faculty who has designed the test. Moreover, you will also get to see where you stand in terms of your All India ranking. Because ultimately the exam is going to be conducted on All India level, so you have to compete on that level only. Second, you will also get to know about your scaled score in each section. In order to clear the cutoff of each section, you have to score the threshold percentile in order to get calls from prestigious colleges of India. So, this test, one test only, is going to give you all these benefits. What more can you ask for? If you are one of the top 50 scorers, you stand a chance of winning Amazon vouchers of 5,000 rupees. So don't waste this opportunity of getting so many benefits. Go enroll yourself and take the exam coming Sunday and see where you are, if you are prepared for this exam this year or not. Alright, now let's get started with today's session. As I have been taking vocabulary building sessions in this channel, where I have taken theme, pictures, current affairs, etymology for vocabulary building. So in today's class, I have taken the theme of financial frauds. So let's get started with this picture. I hope the theme is explicitly clear. It's needless to say what these people are associated with. Neerav Modi, Harshad Mehta, and Ramalingam Raju, who was associated with Satyam, corporate fraud. So all these people, there is one thing which is binding all of them together. That is, they were involved in some or other kind of financial scams. All right. So first word which I have taken up to talk about financial scams is white collar crime. I hope all of you know what white collar jobs are. So when you are in a white collar job, you have an executive job. You have a job which involves sitting on a desk, wearing those executive clothes and discharging your duties. Unlike blue collar jobs, which require you to put in a lot of hard work. You might have to do a lot of manual work or you have to work on the ground when you are in a blue collar job. So it's a laborer's job. Contrary to blue collar jobs, white collar jobs involves bureaucratic work, discharging your duties or performing your tasks as an executive. So when you call a crime white collar crime, these people who we just saw in the previous slide, these people committed white collar crime. Now what is the definition and how it is defined by one of the leading economists? Now, financially motivated non-violent crime. So they are characterized by non-violence. Non-violent crime committed by business and government professionals. So these people who are at the top position in any government organization or private organization. Within criminology, it was first defined by sociologist Edwin. He said, a crime committed by a person of respectability and high social status in the course of his occupation. Now, whichever occupation he is in, whether in government sector or in private sector, he holds a very important position in that organization. And by the virtue of holding that position, by the virtue of having that status in the organization, he finds his way to take advantage of that position to further his own nest, to aggrandize his wealth or to accumulate financial gains. So that is what is white collar crime. So these people who are positioned in different organizations, be private or government, they took the advantage of their proximity with the people who were placed in a suitable position, or they took the advantage of their own position because they had the access to financial resources of the company. They had the unchecked access to the financial or other resources of the company, and they took advantage of that, undue advantage of that. Alright, so white collar crime is defined by a non-violent crime, usually a financial crime just committed by a person who holds a very important position in a government or a private organization. Alright, so I started this presentation with this word so that it is clear that what kind of crime or what kind of fraud we are going to talk about. Now, first word that I have taken up to explain you is embezzlement. So the word is used for secretly taking money from a fund, from a trust, or from an account, especially illegally, right? So the definition goes, the crime of secretly taking money that is in your care or that belongs to an organization or business you work for. So you're working for a bank as a cashier. So a lot of cash of depositors is in your custody. When you take away that money illegally without informing your superior, without informing the person you report to, and you take that money for your own benefit, that is embezzlement. Alright, so you are trusted with the responsibility of taking care of the fund or taking care of the cash which has been given by the depositors, and you misuse that money, especially in your favor. So that is what is embezzlement. Embezzlement of funds, embezzlement of money. Look at some examples. They were arrested for embezzlement of company funds. So there were funds, there was money which was there in company's account. So there were some people who had access to that account and they took advantage of that fund. So they were embezzling company's funds. He was accused of tax evasion, embezzlement, and fraud. So look at this word here, right? So a couple of these economic crimes that he was accused of involves embezzlement, that he took money which was given to him as trust, and fraud and evasion. Her lawyer declined to comment about the embezzlement charge she faces, right? So recently, when we were all watching one of the prominent cases which was caught in media, which was kind of tried in media, where a girl was accused of siphoning the money from her boyfriend's account. So embezzling money. She was accused of embezzling money from her spouse's account. Alright, so that way you can understand that she was taking that money illegally. She was accused of taking that money illegally. The embezzlement scandal involves a local school district. So here, a school which is possibly given some fund by the government to run some scheme, to implement some policies. So the fund is used by those people who are in charge of taking care of the fund, right? So they misuse that money, they take advantage of their position and misuse the money for their own favor. So that is how embezzlement happens, especially by those people who are trusted with the responsibility of taking care of that money. Alright? So he discovered he was the victim of embezzlement. That means his money has been taken away by other people. Alright? So this word involves taking away someone's money, especially the money which is with you as a trust or as a fund. Now, what happened in PMC Bank, Punjab Maharashtra Corporation Bank? So that was the perfect example of embezzlement. So there was the money of depositors, which was given to a specific organization. Huge proportion of money was given to a specific organization, which later defaulted. So that way, the scam came into limelight, and it was noticed that there was embezzlement by the bank top executives because they were responsible for this huge fund of the depositor, and they gave away this money as a loan to one of the organizations, and then finally the organization defaulted. Alright, so PMC Bank was, in a way, the word which is applicable in this fraud is embezzlement. Alright, misappropriate. Now, interestingly, appropriate and misappropriate, both the words are used interchangeably for taking money in a deceptive way. Alright? So, appropriation of funds, misappropriation of funds, both are interchangeably used, right? So both are synonymous. So, to steal something that you have been trusted to take care of and use it for your own good, exactly like embezzling. So embezzlement was now Embezzling will be a verb for that, right? So when you misappropriate fund, you use the fund which is given to you as someone's trust, as someone else's fund, which you are custodian of, which you should take care of. Instead of taking care of it, you take that money for your own advantage. So for those people who are positioned in financial institutions like banks, insurance companies or financial institutions, those people who have unrestricted power, or possibly those people who have less accountability, will find some suitable situation to take advantage of their own position, and they misappropriate other people's money or misappropriate other people's fund. So look at some examples. He is accused of misappropriating $30,000 to pay off gambling debts, right? So to pay off his debts, he used the money which he was given as someone's trust. He was given that money to take care of it, to keep that money as a trust. He used that money to pay his debts. So he was accused of misappropriation. The court found that he had misappropriated €50,000 intended for investment on behalf of a customer. So a customer gave him this much money that whenever there's a suitable opportunity to invest, you use that money on behalf of me for investing in the market or for buying something. Instead of using it for the customer, or instead of investing on behalf of the customer, the person uses that money for his own purpose, for his own ulterior motives. Alright? So that way you can understand misappropriation of funds. So if you have seen the series Harshad Mehta, you will see that he used that money of banks. So the money which was given by banks to buy the security, buy government security. He used that money to invest in share market. And with that money, he tried to manipulate the Sensex. He tried to manipulate the prices of different shares, right? So misappropriating funds. He was given that money as a trust by the bank, but he used it for his own good. Misappropriate funds, misappropriate money, misappropriate property. So she lied to investors and misappropriated taxpayers' funds, right? So couple of times in private organizations as well, you find that a lot of people do misappropriation of money. Every month, some amount of money is deducted from your salary as TDS. So the TDS is not deposited with the government organization that it is supposed to be deposited with. But that huge sum of money, which becomes, which is compounded, is kept with the organization, or which is kept with the accountant who takes care of the account of the organization, and he uses for his own good until he is asked to deposit in the government. So till that time, that money is used by the accountant. So that is also misappropriation of money, misappropriation of funds, because that is employees' money, which is supposed to be deposited with government immediately. When you are deducting the tax, it is supposed to be deposited with government. But instead of depositing it immediately, accountant try to manipulate this fund, use it for their own good, and when the deadline approaches, they go and deposit this money in government's account. Alright? So, misappropriation of funds, Lalu Prasad Yadav, the ex-chief minister of Bihar, is behind bar because he was accused of, or he was convicted of misappropriation of funds. So for the scam. So the money which was given for that purpose was misappropriated by him. He used his power, he used or took advantage of his position, of all the powers, and he used that money for his own good. Right? He was convicted in that case only. Alright, so misappropriation of funds, usually done by public officers. Okay, so this is an interesting word hoodwink. So you hoodwink someone, or you hoodwink somebody into doing something. That means you trick somebody into believing that what you are saying is correct, or you trick somebody into believing that you are going to benefit him a lot, right? So a lot of Ponzi scheme operators, they try to hoodwink gullible customers. They try to hoodwink those credulous investors who are ready to invest somewhere because they have extra load of cash. So instead of going to a bank and get their money into an FD, a secure instrument, they go and they are lured by these people who try to hoodwink them, right? So hoodwink is to trick somebody into believing that what you are saying is going to benefit you, all right? So to trick someone, look at some examples. She had been hoodwinked into buying a worthless necklace, all right? So with this example only, it is explicitly clear that the necklace did not actually worth anything. It was spurious, it was not a genuine product, but she was hoodwinked to buy that worthless necklace. She had to pay a hefty amount of money to buy a necklace which actually did not worth anything. I feel as if I have been hoodwinked. So in any situation when you feel you are cheated, or you have been unfairly treated, or you were possibly beguiled by someone, you say you have been hoodwinked, all right? Staff felt as if they had been hoodwinked when they discovered the new management's plan. So a couple of times it happens that we join an organization with the purpose of advancing our career or advancing our financial gains, and in the process only we discover that the policy that the management had, or the management professed earlier when we interviewed, has completely changed, and it's not going to be in advantage of staff members, or it's not going to be in advantage of me as an employee. All right? So you feel you are hoodwinked, you feel you are cheated, right? So this word can be used in these different contexts, right? So those people who run these Ponzi schemes, they try to hoodwink investors. People hoodwink each other if they want to trick each other into believing something. All right? So hoodwink. Try to replace this word with cheating, right? So instead of saying cheating, you start saying hoodwink, so that your vocabulary becomes advanced. Now, this word is, before explaining what this word means, I'll tell you how people work. So a person single-handedly cannot commit a crime. Usually, a financial crime cannot be committed single-handedly by an individual. He would always need some other people to get information, to get insider information of an organization. If he wants to find his work way around a bank, he would definitely try to lure some people who are placed or who are positioned in the bank to do what he wants him to do. All right? So he's going to find his nexus. He's going to find his racket here, right? And with that, he's going to operate his syndicate, or he's going to operate his crime. So that way you can understand that collude means to work together secretly or illegally in order to trick other people. All right? So if you have seen that movie, or if you have seen that series, so he colludes with the officers of bank. So top officers of bank, or one of the top government organization, also colludes with him. So collude is to come together for committing a crime, cooperating for committing a crime, right? So collusion is now collude is work. So he colluded with top officers of bank. He colluded with top executives of government organizations. Even one of the close allies of the then Prime Minister of India was also colluding with him. He was constantly talking to him for getting some tips or getting off the hook that he was into. All right. So you can see that collude comes for bringing a nexus or creating a nexus of those people who cooperate each other to commit a crime. So several people had collude in the murder, right? So it was not formed by one person alone. It was done in collusion with each other. So bookies in collusion with cricketers do this batting, right? So they are in collusion with cricketers. Police in collusion with criminals, right? So that way you can see that those people who are cooperating with each other in order to commit a crime. They colluded with terrorists to overthrow the government. To overthrow the government, that means toppling a government, toppling a civilian government. So here those people who were hatching a conspiracy to subvert a civilian government, they colluded with terrorists. they colluded with those people who were already aggressive, who were already violent, and with those means they overthrew the government. The president accused his opponent of colluding with foreigners. So time and again, such stories also emerge in India where we accuse our Prime Minister of colluding with foreign companies or foreign agencies or foreign NGOs, right? So time and again, such stories keep coming up in national politics where collusion with other countries or collusion with other countries' executives or politicians comes, and where the person who is in the national politics is accused of having some nexus with other peoples. All right, so that way you can use this word, but this is always used in a negative way, right? So when you work to construct something, when you work together to create something, that's never collusion. The word has negative connotation, right? So you work in unison with each other to create something, right? You cooperate with each other to create something or to construct something. But collusion is always used for committing a crime, committing a felony, right? Now, rigging. Now, if in case you haven't watched that web series based on Harshad Mehta's scam, rigging can also be used for manipulating anything, right? Now, in that series, it is shown how he rigged the prices of ACC cement, share prices of ACC cement. From 200, it went up to 9,000. So one share of ACC cement reached to 9,000 rupees, all right? So it was done by Harshad Mehta because he could manipulate the market. He could rig the market, right? So rigging basically is the act of influencing something in a dishonest way in order to get the result that you want. So ACC Cement was his client. The company invested through Harshad Mehta, right? So the company chose Harshad Mehta as the stockbroker. So he was responsible for their benefit. He was responsible for their profit. He manipulated the market in a way that the price of the share skyrocketed. So rigging is manipulating, especially by chicanery, especially by dishonest way. So bid rigging. Now please understand how this bid rigging happens in an organization, be it government or private. So bid rigging is a collusive fraud where an employee helps a vendor illegally obtain a contract that was supposed to involve competitive bidding. So instead of having a competitive bidding where everybody is given a fair playing field to compete, to say the bid, and on the basis of the lowest bid, the person will be given the contract. Instead of doing this, you give the bid to a contractor who gives you extra benefit. So that is how bid rigging happens in government organization as well as in private organizations, where bidding is involved to get some work done. Rigging can also happen in politics. So ballot rigging. So here, before today's verdict, when there was election campaign happening in America, Joe Biden stated in one of his election campaigns that if there is free and fair election, he would become the president of America. If there is no rigging in votes. So that he expressed his apprehension in one of his speeches that unless there is some rigging in votes, unless there is some rigging in ballot, he will definitely become the president of America, right? So rigging in votes, that means votes can be manipulated, right? So if you remember a few months ago in India as well, there was a political party, or there was a supremo of a political party who expressed his apprehension about the rigging of EVM. He said, whenever you cast your vote, it goes in the favor of a specific party, right? So he said these EVMs have been rigged. Though EVM were not possessed by a political party. They were always possessed by Election Commission of India, which is an independent organization, autonomous organization, but the politician accused of these EVM rigging, though it was later proved to be false. Alright, so rigging can happen anywhere where you manipulate the system in your favor, especially to do what you want them to do. So look at the sentence. The OFT has recently completed its investigation into price rigging by supermarkets. So price rigging can also happen. So there is a cartel of these organizations which monopolize the prices. They monopolize the demand and supply, and with that they try to rig the prices, right? They try to manipulate the prices. Market rigging. Now, the practice of unfairly or illegally controlling the sale or the price of product or share. That is market rigging. The same which was done by Harshad Mehta. Alright. Charges on the arrest warrant included criminal association, extortion and market rigging. Alright. So those people who are in the powerful position, who can influence market with their muscle power, with their money power, or with their position, they can rig the market. They can manipulate the market in your own favor or in their client's favor. Alright, so rigging. Siphon. Now, siphon is basically an instrument which is used to transfer liquid from one part to another part. Right? So siphon, if you have seen, it's a kind of I would have showed you the picture, but okay, so siphon is simply a kind of instrument which transfers liquid from one part to the another part, right? You can Google it, you will find a simple image of siphon. So with that, the verb siphon is used for transferring money from one account to another account or from one place to another place, but in an illegal way, in an unlawful way. So that is siphoning of funds, siphoning of money. Look at the definition. To remove money or goods from one place and move it to another, especially dishonestly or illegally. That is what is siphoning. Right? She has been accused of siphoning of thousands of pounds from the company into her own bank account. Right? So you can see that she embezzled the company's fund and siphoned the company's fund from company's account to her own account. So siphoning is transferring the money. So from transferring liquid, you can understand transferring cash from one account to another account, but in an illegal way. Usually doing a transaction, transferring money from one account to another account is not siphoning, right? So it has a negative connotation. The word is always used for fraud. Over the years, she siphoned off hundreds of thousands of dollars from various accounts. So by the virtue of her position, she was possibly placed in a position where she had the access to different accounts, and from those accounts, gradually she siphoned a lot of money into her own account, right? So it's an instrument which is used to transfer liquid from one object to another object. With that, you can understand this word is used as a verb to transfer money from one account to another account in an illegal way. Accomplice. So this person is the one who is your accessory in crime, who is your partner in crime, right? So in simplistic language, your partner in crime, a person who aids committing a crime, a financial fraud, as I said, can never happen alone. It requires a chain of people. It requires a racket of people to pass on the information, to cover up for each other, and to hatch that perfect plan to execute this crime. Alright? So that way you always need an accessory. So accomplice is no one but a person who helps another to commit a crime or to do something wrong. Look at the example. She became his unwitting accomplice in the robbery. Unwitting, unknowingly. Right? She did not know that what she was doing ultimately led to a crime, to committing a crime. So unwittingly is unknowingly, accomplice in the robbery. She helped committing a robbery. An accomplice to murder, a person who helped committing a murder. The police suspect that he had an accomplice, so that means police suspect that a person did not commit this crime independently or alone, but he was aided by someone else. He was supported by someone else. So they are looking for an accomplice. So you see any fraud, you name any fraud, be it Satyam, PMC, Neerav Modi, Lalit Modi, or what Vijay Mallya did. Every financial fraud, you will see other people are accomplice. Those people who help these kingpins, those people who are positioned in different financial institutions, and in a way, unwittingly, they supported these kingpins to commit these crimes. And later on, they were off the hook, and these people, the people who were positioned in these financial institutions, were caught by law enforcement agencies. Alright? So accomplice is your accessory. Accessory is another word which is used for a person who helps you commit a crime. Swindle is to cheat. Hoodwink, swindle. Both mean cheating. Alright? So swindler is adjective. You call somebody swindler, right? So a lot of people who invested in share market on the promise of huge financial gains, they lost their money. And this man, Harshit Mehta, swindled them. He, in a way, raised their hopes. In a way, he lured all these people to invest their money in share market in order to have financial gains. So swindler, a person who cheats you by promising, by giving you lofty promises, or by showing you a lot, those things which are very impossible to happen, right? So swindler. So that way you can understand swindler is a person. You call somebody swindler and he cheats. Swindle is verb for hoodwink. A situation in which somebody uses dishonest or illegal methods in order to get money from a company or another person. So this word is usually used for getting money unlawfully or illegally. An insurance swindler. So here this word can be understood, can be used in place of hoodwink as a verb, right? So swindler and swindle. Please be careful of their different forms. One is noun, one is adjective, swindler, and swindle is verb. Alright? Now time and again you come across this term whenever there is the talk and the discussion of financial fraud, so money laundering. So money laundering is the act of moving money that has been obtained illegally. So the money which is black money, moving that money to a foreign bank or in a legal business. So when you try to legalize that money through these two means, by transferring your money to a foreign bank in Swiss account, or other countries which are known to be tax haven, which are not going to divulge information of their depositors or of their account holders. So when you direct your money to these countries or foreign bank accounts, or you invest in a legal business, in a company which is not going to divulge your details, your money becomes legalized. The money which was accumulated through unfair means, illegally, is black money. But after investing in these legal businesses, the money becomes white, and then you can use that money. So that act is money laundering. So shell companies which are widely used for investing your black money, or Swiss account which has this dubious reputation for being the kind of account where depositors' money and depositors' name is never divulged. Alright? So it is difficult for people to know where the money came from. You accrued that money through unfair means, through illegal means. And now since it has been channelized into a legal business, or it has been deposited into a bank or a foreign bank, now it has turned into white money, and now you don't have to show where this money came from, right? So this act is money laundering. So in India, we have an act which is Anti-Money Laundering Act, which prohibits all these tools, all these mechanisms to park your money in these legal businesses or in an offshore account. All right. So he faces charges of drug dealing and money laundering. So money laundering is usually associated with financial frauds. Now, okay, so if you haven't watched that series, but then you see a criminal's property being seized by a financial institution or by law enforcement agencies. So that act is confiscate. So Vijay Mallya, when he fled to London, and there were efforts by law enforcement agencies of India to extradite him. His property in India was confiscated. Confiscated is to officially take something away from someone, or especially as a punishment, because they committed financial frauds. They took away other people's money unlawfully. Hence, the property they have or the money they have will be taken up by the government in order to pay to those people who lost their money because of these people. Alright, so all the properties that Harshad Mehta had, one of the sprawling bungalows he had in Mumbai, which was full of opulent luxuries, and the fleet of cars, which was quite envious even for a Hollywood celebrity, were all confiscated by CBI in order to as a punishment. All right. So confiscate is to take possession of things, especially of criminals. Their land was confiscated after the war. So here, the two warring parties, one of which had defeated other. So the one which was defeated, their land is confiscated by those people who won the war, right? So this is a very customary thing. So when there used to be a war in ancient times, the people who were defeated, their lands, their properties, their houses were confiscated by the victor. All right. The teacher threatened to confiscate the phones if they kept using them in class. So here they will be possessed by teacher. So the person who holds that phone as that phone will not have the possession if he is found using that phone in the class. So take the possession of something. Our belongings were temporarily confiscated. So that way you can understand it is done as a mark of punishment. So here confiscated, I have taken up this word to explain to you how these people are penalized later on by law enforcement agency. Though they are scot-free, they are absconding. We talk about Vijay Mallya, Neelam Modi, Lalit Modi, all these people are absconding. They are living in other countries, they have taken refuge in other countries, and they are taking advantage of the loopholes of extradition treaties, right? And that is why they are still at large. So their properties can always be confiscated, right? So that they at least lose their some assets. All right. So that way you can understand this word confiscate, to take possession. Devious, behaving in a dishonest or indirect way. So devious usually is a route which is not straight, right? So if I talk about the literal meaning of devious, it's a route, it's a path, a route or a path which is not straight but has many changes, many twists and turns. So when you take a devious route, that means you are not taking a straight route which is reaching you, which is taking you to the destination directly. Rather, you are taking a curvy route which is full of twists and turns. So devious path, a devious route. All right. So from that only you can understand this word used in a metaphorical way, where your ways which are underhand, you're not straight, you're not upright, you're not on face. Rather, you are using underhand techniques. You are using deceitful techniques to talk to someone or to get somebody to do something for you. A devious politician, right? So a person who is using a lot of tricks and clever thing in order to get what he wants. He got rich by devious means. So Harshad Mehta's story is from rags to riches. He came from a very humble background. He belonged to a very lower middle class Gujarati family. From that situation, from that humble upbringing or from that humble background, he reached to the zenith of his career when he was parallel to the richest man of the country. Alright? So his assets or his wealth was comparable to those who were considered richest in India. So from that situation to reaching that point in his life, he did that by devious means, right? Of course, he was an astute businessman. He was a shrewd share market broker. Same time, he used all these devious means. He manipulated market, he took advantage of his position, or he took advantage of the proximity of banks, he manipulated the system, he took advantage of the loopholes of banking system, and through these devious means, he accumulated his financial gains. Alright? So that way you can understand that he became rich by devious means. It was devious plan, but would it work? Devious pollster can write questions that will always return the result they are looking for. So here, poll which is conducted in order to get some information, in order to get what mood prevails among voters, right? So a devious pollster is going to design the question in a way which is going to give him the answer that he wants people to give, right? So devious can be understood this way, dishonest, clever way, and in order to trick people, all right? So that way you understand this word coming close to cheat, or the word we did earlier was swindle, all right? But devious is understood by dishonest ways. Okay. Scrupulous is honest, principled, or full of moral attitude. So that is scrupulous. Just opposite is unscrupulous. So when you are devoid of any moral fabric in your character, you don't think about your principles. You don't think about the consequences of your action. You don't think about whether it is wrong or right. You're not able to distinguish between what is right and what is wrong. Unscrupulous, completely unprincipled, right? So if you have to earn profit, if you have to make money, you will do it by hook or by crook, whichever means you have to adopt, or regardless of what ways you have to go in order to earn that money. So that is unscrupulous, without moral principle, not honest, not fair. Alright? So unscrupulous methods. He adopted unscrupulous method to bring all the accounts, to bring all those investors to his firm, and to earn the kind of money he earned, right? So unscrupulous method. So business is the only business of business. That means ultimately making money, or minting money is the only motive of business. How that money is earned, what ways are adopted to earn that money is completely forgotten, is completely overlooked, right? Unscrupulous means by business leaders. So whichever way they have to earn profit, they will go that way and do that without thinking about the consequences, without thinking about the way they are adopting to earn that profit. Unscrupulous. So in his desire for power, he has become completely unscrupulous, right? So just opposite is scrupulous. So that is honest, moral. When you think about your principles, you adhere to your principle, that is scrupulous. The new law will give unscrupulous landlords an easy way of getting rid of people. So those landlords who are already unscrupulous, that means who are already unprincipled, This law is going to give more freedom. This law is going to give more freedom and authority to those unscrupulous landlords. So these white-collar criminals who committed these financial frauds in India, they were dictated by their unscrupulous desires. So those desires which do not differentiate between right and wrong, right? So unscrupulously, they fulfilled their ambition. They followed their desires, right? So unscrupulous, dishonest, chicanery. A hoodwink is used to cheat. Now, how do you cheat? You use all the complicated plans and clever talk in order to trick people. So, a couple of dialogues which were in that movie have become quite famous. A lot of people are using those dialogues which were used in that series of Harshad Mehta. A couple of dialogues which show that how clever he was in using his sweet talks or his astute intelligence to trick people into investing in share market. There were those people who were completely against investing in share market, couple of his friends, but ultimately he turned them by his chicanery, by his wheedle talks, by his sweet talks, and by his influence. He turned them into his favor. So the use of complicated plans and clever talk in order to trick people, chicanery. All right. So the use of deception or subterfuge. Look at this word, subterfuge. The subterfuge is also used for tricking people into believing something. You deceive people. When you use a subterfuge, you deceive people into believing, which is not true. So journalists use subterfuge to get their stories. So they use some tricks in order to get their information from different people to make their story, to cover their stories. So subterfuge, right? So subterfuge is also a word which is widely used for tricking. Any tool or any means which is used for tricking people into doing something. Storyline packed with political chicanery, right? So here, chicanery can be understood being used for politics. All right. Malfeasance. So we did this root in our root technique class. I discussed a lot of words with etymology, with their root, their origin. So mal always comes from bad, right? So malnutrition, malingerer, or malediction, or we did malapropism. All right, so mal always comes for bad. So malfeasance is an act of wrongdoing by a government officer. So in that series, it is shown that one of the government officers who was involved with Harshad Mehta committed suicide. He was positioned in one of the government institutions, and he took advantage of his position and he gave that money to Harshad Mehta. When Harshad Mehta failed in paying back that money, and he was investigated by CBI, and because of that embarrassing situation, he committed suicide. He was accused of malfeasance. So malfeasance is a wrongdoing committed by a government officer. So the memo set strict ground rules for dealing with corporate malfeasance. So this sentence is explaining it in corporate sector. That means in a corporate organization, in a private organization, when you see a person committing a wrongdoing, especially a person who is in a top position, when he commits a crime or when he involves in a wrongdoing, that is the act of malfeasance. All right. So there are laws in India which prevent bureaucrats from any act of malfeasance. That means they are not supposed to commit any wrongdoing because of the prevention of these laws. RTI is one of them, right? Which up to some extent or up to a great extent prevents malfeasance in government sector. All right. So malfeasance is one more word. So here I come to the end of today's session. So let's take a quick revision of all these words. Unscrupulous is used for dishonest person, is used for those people who are absolutely immoral, who do not take care of morality, who do not take care of principles when it comes to making money. So all these people, all these white collar criminals who committed these malfeasance were accused of unscrupulous intention. They did not take care of their means, they did not take care of their methods. Whichever method they adopted, which ensured that they are going to earn profit, they adopted that way. So completely unscrupulous. You can call any person unscrupulous who you feel is unprincipled. Devious, the word came from having a curvy route or a curvy path which is not straight, which has a lot of twists and turns. Circuitous, right? Something which is serpentine is devious. So a devious route is neutral word here. But when you call somebody devious, when you call a plan a devious plan, that means it's very clever and it is actually made to trick people into believing something. So a devious plan. So he had a devious plan. He used those bank receipts in order to trick other people, right? In order to rig the share market. So it was a devious plan which he hatched along with the other bank officers. So devious. Confiscate is to take possession of others' property, others' things, or others' land because you want to punish them, usually done by a government agency. So these fraudsters who committed these financial scams in India, finally they fled from the country and they are living in these tax havens or different countries where they have been given the shelter and refuge, but their properties have been attached here. Back home, whatever property they possess, that has been attached by law enforcement agencies, especially by ED. So here the word is used confiscate. The property has been confiscated by these agencies. Swindle is to cheat, is to hoodwink, right? So both the words are used for cheating. So he swindled a lot of investors. A lot of investors lost their money by investing in share market. They also earned, but later on they lost for good because the market was rigged. It was artificially manipulated. With those rigging, it went up artificially. So when it corrected, when there was a course correction in the market, it dropped down and then those people could never recover their money. So they were swindled. They were swindled in believing that they are going to earn huge profits by investing money in share market. You can also use swindle for those Ponzi scheme operators, right? So they are swindled. These people who are gullible, who do not have understanding of these schemes, they are swindled by these operators, right? Swindle is to cheat. Swindler will be a person. Accomplice is a person who helps you commit a crime. Your accessory is your accomplice. Somebody who is aiding that crime or the commitment of crime. Embezzlement or embezzling is to take someone's money unlawfully, especially the money which is given to you as a trust, right? So embezzlement, what happened in PLC Bank was embezzlement. What happened with those government schemes where the money comes for operating or for implementing those policies and schemes is taken up by those people who are in the charge of the execution of plan. So they embezzle the government's fund. Siphoning from that instrument which is used to transfer the liquid from one part to another part is siphon. So siphon is to transfer your money illegally from one account to another account. Siphoning off. That's the phrasal verb. Misappropriate is synonymous with embezzlement. So misappropriation of money, appropriation of money. Interestingly, both the words have the same meaning. So appropriate money, misappropriate money. Both will be synonymous. Hoodwink, same as cheat, right? So hoodwink someone is to cheat someone. So replace cheat with hoodwink so as you can use this word in your active vocabulary. Rig is to manipulate. Alright, so we discussed this word widely in that slide when he rigged the share market. Right? So one of the companies which was his client, ACC Cement, his this company's share prices were rigged by Harshad Mehta. So it went from 200 to 9,000. So the market was rigged. I told you it can also be applied to political rigging or rig in voting or market rigging or bid rigging, right? So that way all these manipulative techniques can be used by those people who are positioned in these organizations to do certain things in their favor. Collude is to come in cahoots with other people. So when you come in cahoots with other people, you are forming a nexus. You are forming a kind of syndicate to commit a crime, right? There were a lot of people in collusion with Harshad Mehta who committed this whole fraud, right? So he was not the only person. There were other people who aided him, who supported him. So they were also in that FIR which is filed against him. Malfeasance is wrongdoing by a top executive in a government or a private organization. Mal always comes for bad. Malfeasance is wrongdoing by a government officer. Alright? So I hope the compilation of these words under this theme of financial fraud will give you some confidence to speak about these fraud, about these scam in your GD and in your PI. Other than building your vocabulary for this theme, building your vocabulary for this subject, it will also give you confidence to speak on these topics in your group discussion and in your personal interviews. All right. So keep building on these themes, as I said earlier as well. Do not confine to this presentation only. As in when you come across a term or a phrase or a specific word which you feel is fitting with the theme, keep amplifying this word list, right? So that way you will have huge list of word which is on a specific theme, and that's going to make it easier for you to remember these words and use these words in your productive skill of writing and speaking. All right, so please do share with me your thoughts and opinion on this presentation, and do tell me what topics you want me to cover in coming sessions on this channel. All right, thank you very much for watching the video. Continue watching my videos for vocabulary building, for reading comprehension, as well as for grammar. So I'm going to launch a course of critical reasoning on the Plus portal of Unacademy. If you want to refine your critical reasoning for NMAT and for SNAP, as well as for IFT, you can join that course and attend my classes. Thank you very much.